Welcome back to the channel today, and as I promised, I'm going to show you my Strideways 30p. This is a terrarium, not an aquascape, however it looks like, and got a lot of people misconfused about this little aquarium, if we can call it, or terrarium, because it resembles a lot normal aquascape, and that was the idea. Because when I got this tank, I thought in doing first a paludarium, but the main idea, or the original idea, was just to breed some nice shrimps that I have in the other tank, like green jade, blue navy. But then suddenly I thought, no more water in home. I still have 2 tanks. I have a few terrariums or something that I'm working just to try to see how they go. And this is going very successful. This one, as I said before, kind of mimic an aquascape. I can be misconfused about that because all the plants that are inside, they are more or less similar to some of the plants that we are used to see in aquascaping. However, I cannot flood this tank to the top because all those plants will die. However, I still have a mix from terrarium or terrestrial plants and aquatic plants in this terrarium. This is a Strideways. They has 30 centimeters from side to side, has 18 from front to back, and 24 from bottom to top. This aquarium is in opti-white. That is 45 degrees metered glass on the edges for a better sealing, also a better finishing. When I got this one, it was a prototype from Strideways. Strideways, for those that don't know, is a Portuguese brand. They sent this to me just to use and give my opinion about it, and I must say that it's amazing. The glue, the finishing, everything that we look on the tank, is just amazing. There is one on flawless. It is too small for doing an aquascape, and that is the reason when I got it, not adding water on it, because that's the idea of placing a filter in this tank. Unless I would find small lily pipes in glass, a very tiny one that could fit, but I think in general it's quite small. Okay, it's good for shrimps, but besides that, or even very micro fish, should be okay. But it came the idea of doing a paludarium on this, but then I was a little bit afraid because I still have a DOURO base plus a mini terrarium and a terrarium bowl, and I really would like to try something different on this one. Having the water, I was a little bit afraid of getting a little bit algae on the bottom, on the foreground, or even in the sand in case I have used something there. And since I didn't want to use any pump, any filtration on it, I changed my mind and decided to go with the terrarium. And I think it was a very wise decision. The terrarium looks amazing in my point of view. I'm really enjoying it because it doesn't give too much work. I just need to spray it once a day, and even if I do it every next day, it is okay. It keeps the moisture inside because I am using a lid in this tank. It's not covering totally the top of the aquarium because I had to leave some space for the wood that is coming outside. And but it's enough for venting, and that will avoid any mold that we can get it. On the beginning I had a few issues, mostly because I was using a transparent film and with just a few holes in the top, but that was not enough for venting. And then by spraying it probably a little bit more than it was expected, we'll start getting a little bit more water in the bottom, and then some of the plants start getting any mold and starting getting melt. And this is why also I did some cosmetic change from the first time to what we see right now. So I had some gravel. I tried to somehow improve a little bit more the way how the plants are. Also with the time we get to know also how many spray or water we should add in the terrarium so everything stays healthy and growing. And of course, everything has a start, and to build this structure, I had to have in mind that by the short size of the tank, I had to find some small piece of wood. I have a kind of private collection at home because I always cherish some piece of wood from previous aquascapes, and then later on, if I find something very nice in the shop, I will end up by buying it. So I have my private collection in the balcony, and that is also good because when it rains with wind, the wood doesn't look like brand new. So that problem of the slime and even the looking of it like completely new wood, that will disappear because the wood tends to get a little bit more brownish, a little bit older. And that is nice even when we place inside of a tank or even a terrarium, because it's something that it is on the nature for a long time. And for example, when we use a little bit more of humidity or underwater, the slime does not get out, and that makes the job a lot easier for all of us. And this is why usually I don't do dry starts in my tanks because mostly all the wood is already stored outside in the weather conditions. So for this one I have used azalea wood or what we call for redwood wood. It's quite similar. Also some lava rocks. The lava rocks I have to smash small pieces and have different sizes just to hold the wood. And then using the traditional super glue with paper towels just to fix the wood where I want it. And then later on I've used some expanding foam. This one is not specific for terrarium or for aquarium. I have used something that we use for roofs, but it's not a warm color. It's still gray, but not completely dark gray or black like a fixed foam. But it works pretty well. So I advise you guys to don't use it directly inside of an aquarium or even a terrarium, because when it starts, before it gets dry, get in contact with the glass, will release some stains. And then later on, if you want to dismount something on from the previous scape to make something new, it will be very difficult to get rid of those stains in the glass. So I suggest to you to make a mold using some cotton box, something that can be useful in the future. So you can cut it, you glue it, you put some tape, and then with the exact size of the aquarium you have, and then you start building on it. Then later on you just need to peel it, take it off, and then you place it inside. And this is what I did. I prepared everything in advance, prepared in the cotton box, so I could move easily and peel all the paper that was attached to the expanding foam, and then placed inside. Then of course I had to get the plants, and for these plants I had to choose carefully. So for the aquatic plants was easy to know what exactly you wanted to use, because I have another terrarium and a Strideways at home, so I have tried already some aquatic plants that I know that they will work pretty well in these conditions. But the big mystery was to find some terrarium plants that will fit exactly my needs, and this is where the guys from Little Tree Design by Adopts in Alicante, Spain. So the best regards to the guys. They helped me a lot by selecting some of those plants, and some advice mostly where I should place them and how I should do it. Because all the structure, everything put it in place, before we start to plant, we need to start adding some drainage soil, something that will drain the water, so the water will not stay completely soaked in some areas, so it's spray down and lay down all the bottom of the tank. So what I've used with some kind of hard clay is very hard, similar to gravel. But it's also nice because there's some nutrients on it, but it doesn't get soft. So it's a very good product just to release all that water or excess of the water in some of the parts. Then I have used some Prodivio gravel. This is G series G2 and G3. They are very small pebbles that gives a really nice contrast and also allows when I spray the water just going down. And then for the part of the wood where I have the orchids, where I have the terrarium ferns, the begonia, some plants that they are attached to wood but need a little bit more of moist or humidity, I have used some sphagnum moss. It's a dry moss that we need to hydrate in water, and then we just place it on the cracks or in between the wood where we want to place it. That will retain a little bit more of the water, and then when we spray it once a day, it's more than enough because the water will stay there. They will avoid that some of the parts start running dry, and then of course keep the humidity inside of the entire system. For forgetting something, okay, on the back of the terrarium, as you can see, I can show it to you, I can move it over here. We have here the expanding foam, and then we have different layers. For this is the sphagnum moss, because I wanted to avoid the soil to going down. And then later on we have some kind of mud. This is like normal aqua soil. I prepared it on water. I smash it like usually we do some Duwabi Kuza balls and make it smash. So in order that I could feel that part, avoiding also the soil, the last layer to get in and coming on the bottom of that hole. So we use the sphagnum moss, then we use that kind of mud, and then the last layer is a little bit of aqua soil. This is why I did mostly where we need to put some plants and they need some nutrients from it. From here I have, for example, aquatic plants. I have Oriocalum Espedongia, Bobitis Etecrolite deformis, some Anubias nana mini, Anubias nana mini. I have Hydrocotyl tripartita. What else? Some Bobitis, Bobitis Lemandal mini red, Bobitis green. I have also some Microsordium Spoterops pti that I took from this Aquascape and even from my breeding tank in the kitchen. They are very tiny ferns that they were new runners and new plants coming from the mother plant, and I placed them here just to check how they grow. And surprisingly, they are growing quite well. They are really not drying, they are growing and getting volume. Of course, a terrarium is completely different for a planted tank, because in a planted tank everything is so fast because we are dosing CO2. We have a lot of light plants. They have different growing speeds. They can grow really fast. But in a terrarium, everything takes a little bit longer. But at a certain point is good because we don't need to rush. Also, we don't need to, I would say, be trimming or want to trim that every time. So it's good when the things going slow. We have a small piece of nature over here, and everything grows slow but steady. Okay. Also, I forgot to tell, I have a carpet of Amianthus calliticoides scuba. It's growing quite well, even this one in my terrarium bowl. I was a little bit with indecision about using Monte Carlo or Cuba, but I must say that Cuba looks much better than Monte Carlo, because Monte Carlo, when it is immersed, it tends to have bigger leaves, and Amianthus Cuba tends to be very small and it grows very attached. Even if we don't trim it that much, it doesn't happen, or it doesn't have the same problem when we have them inside of an aquarium, because inside of an aquarium, if we don't trim it that much, it tends to get yellow and then can release from the bottom of, from the foreground of the aquarium. But here, it's nothing, no problem at all. It's still growing. Time to time, I give a small trimming. I have also some hydrocotyl tripartite over here, and I forgot to tell about all the moss, or the moss we see here. There is a little bit a mix of aquatic moss and terrarium. So for the aquatic one, we have the Zicorarium montagnais Christmas, and then we have some Seligionella, some small moss, if we can call that a moss or a fern. That's the same we can see on the corners and right here, and they look amazing. It gives a very small feeling of outside nature, and it grows small and it creeps down and attached to the wood, and it looks amazing. Also, I have some Botanics over here, some magnolia leaves, and also some pine cones. All this came from a Little Tree Design Biotopes. A big thank you for the guys for helping me out with some plants, and it's a lot of the advice regarding how to keep them. Of course, this is something that we need with the time to time just to try, because the levels of humidity where the place I live, even the temperature, can make a big difference in how the terrarium need to be sprayed or keep the humidity inside. So even the temperature here, usually in the north of Portugal and close to the coast, I would say that temperatures usually average is from 16 to 24 degrees, so everything should be okay. When I mean those temperatures is inside of a home, not outside, because temperatures can reach 40 degrees and also can get around 3-4 degrees. And if you live near of the ocean, there is a little bit of feeling, and it's completely different because here we have a lot of humidity. But anyway, so this is the little terrarium I have at home. I will show you some close-ups about it. Also, for the maintenance, what I usually do is just to use this. This is the same tool that I use to clean my aquariums. When I spray it, usually I use this spatula just to clean the glass. That will avoid to keep some stains, even because I'm using water from the aquarium to spray the plants. So in this way we'll have always a little bit of nutrients on it, but not that much, but enough for the plants to grow well and healthy, as you can see. And I think the only thing that I need to talk about is about the light. Light is very important, not only for the aquarium but also for a terrarium. I had it before here, Twinstar 30B, and then later on I replaced it by a 300C. And the 300C, I must say that is a little bit wider. Compared to the 30B, there is really a lot more power. There is more LEDs, and of course with that will gives you a little bit more power, more color rendition, and of course all the colors will pop out. That doesn't mean that the 30B will not make those plants to grow, but visually this is more vibrant. I have the Terrarium and the Terrarium, all the plants are growing quite well, no issues at all. And with 1 or even 2 units of the Twinstar 30B, I don't run them at 100%. For here, this lighting system comes with a button that allow you to increase or decrease the intensity in case you don't use a dimmer. So for example, if you want to keep it like this, you can. So you have 15 levels to increase the intensity. And also this light has a slow start. Of course, that would be amazing if you had slow shutdown. So because usually for the aquarium, mostly because they provide this light. This is not only for terrarium, but mainly for the aquarium. This is adapted over here. And I'm also using a normal dimmer, something that we usually use in the aquariums, and this is running about 8 hours a day with a ramp of 90 minutes for sunrise and sunset. And this is how I keep it. We don't do anything else than that. Time to time I need to trim a little bit. Of course, a major asset for this terrarium and for everything growing so well and avoiding all the mold is just to add some springtails. Springtails are definitely very important because it's a culture starter. So they will hit the rotten parts, they will hit the mold, they will, if there is something that is dry, they will hit it. So you can get easily in some pet shops, mostly the ones they sell some food, some live food for your pets. And they are small white bugs. They don't do anything else than just trying to get on the soil and eat all the bad things. And even when you trim it, for some reason, mostly the H. cuba, if there is something that is left there, if we don't take it off, probably what will happen in the future, they will start getting melt for any reason, because it's organic waste that stays over the healthy plants, and that can affect the growth of what is underneath. And with the springtails, I must say that is a relief, because they will take care of all of that and make the terrarium completely clean. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit that like button and the notification bell to get notified about future uploads. And in this way I will know if you really like this video, because I have a few more terrariums at home that I would love to show to you. So let's see a little bit more about this terrarium, and see you guys in the next video. Take care.